There are many techniques for dealing with difficult people in your life, whether it's a spouse or a child or a parent or a friend or a co-worker or whatever. But there might be someone who's abusive or narcissistic or selfish or inconsiderate or domineering or whatever in your life that causes you difficulty. And there's a bunch of different techniques, but what seems to work the best for me, the one that I like the most, is to stop and ask myself, is the other person innocent? Well, I guess a better question is, could they have done it any other way? Could they be any different in that point in time? Could they have done what they did differently? So let's say someone's rude to you or says something nasty or calls you a name or is even physically abusive or whatever. Could they have been any different in that exact moment? And normally, the knee-jerk reaction is, yes, of course they could have been different. They could have been nice to me, they could have been considerate, they could have not done what they did, they could have blah, 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 blah. But when you really think about it, people are just balls of conditioning. We were born with certain genetics. Either you're strong-willed or weak-willed or empathetic or narcissistic or emotionally mature or immature or whatever. You have your genetic conditioning, which determines a lot about you as a person. And then you have your environmental conditioning. Either your parents were lovely and treated you well, or they were abusive or nasty. Maybe your friends are nice or not so nice. Maybe your society taught you certain values or the opposite values. You get so conditioned throughout your whole life, from your genetics and from your experiences, your society, your parents, your friends, that by the time it comes to taking any action, there's no free will in it. There's no free will. You're just a ball of conditioning. And so what you do in any moment, what anyone does in any moment, is predetermined in a way, because it's just conditioning acting out. Whether it's nice or nasty, it was always going to happen exactly that way, and there was no free will in it. So if someone is abusive towards you, they are innocent. They are innocent because they never really had a choice in it themselves. Maybe they were just born with a lower emotional intelligence than you. Maybe they were abused as children and they've got stuff they need to work on still. Doesn't mean they're going to be like that for the rest of their lives, but in that moment, when they were rude or nasty, they had no choice. They were innocent. And you were innocent as well. You're both innocent. They couldn't have been any other way. They couldn't have done anything differently. They couldn't have said what they said any differently in that moment. It was just their conditioning coming out exactly as it was always going to come out. And I would argue exactly as it's supposed to come out. So when you really question it, when you really think about the person, and if you really honestly ask yourself, could they have been any different in that moment? The answer is always no. People just are the way they are, and there's no choice in it. They are innocent, and you are innocent.